Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for a new podcast experience from yours truly. That's right, I'm the host, co-host technically, because everyone's the host here, YemmytheFerret, and I am here with GreedyWaffle,
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Coco Gamer,
Yeet.
and Taymation Studios.
How's it going?
How is everyone doing today?
Doing good.
Doing great.
Doing all right.
So, we all have varying movie experiences. We also have varying movie opinions. And we started this podcast to just talk about movies. And we're going to focus on one movie per episode. And it's going to be hella lit, as the kids like to say. So, if we just want to introduce ourselves real quickly. So, as you all know, I'm YemmytheFerret, podcast extraordinaire, as I've been called. Actually, I called myself that. So, also do live streaming and some edited videos here and there on the YouTube channel, of course, YemmytheFerret and FooBarFerret, if you want to check that out. Next, who wants to go next?
I can go next. I'm GreedyWaffle, aka Nick. I am a friend of Yemmy's, lifelong friend. You see me a lot on his channel. I don't do anything on my own. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't stream or do anything. I'll join Yemmy on a lot for video games, but that's about it.
All right. Next?
You can go next, Tay.
Yeah. Not everyone at once.
We're indecisive already.
I could go, fine. All right, I'm Tay. Obviously, I've got a YouTube channel, Twitch channel. I stream more lately than anything. Do vlogs, gaming. Sometimes we do random stuff like about comics and whatnot. So, yeah.
Also, how many crested geckos you got there?
Just one crested gecko. But we got several other animals in the house as well.
Well, that reaches me. I am Coco Gamer. You see me in Yemmy's Discord, and I'm mod for him for streams, and I have my own YouTube channel, and I say yeet a lot. That's me.
That's true.
Never see Yeet. It's probably Coco.
Yeah, so no one else can say yeet on this podcast. That's Coco's thing.
All right, I'll write that down in the 10 Commandments of... Oh yeah, we didn't even say the name of the podcast. Hey, it's Film Freakz with a Z, because we're edgy.
We're so edgy. 90s edgy.
Yep.
So, this movie today that was recommended to us was recommended by Kylex Plays, a.k.a. Kylex, but unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, he wasn't able to do the podcast with us. But he's here in spirit, because we're talking about the movie that he suggested in honor of him, and he suggested the movie Demolition Man, which is from 1993. It was directed by Marco Brambilla. It stars that handsome Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, and of course, Sandra Bullock. So a short synopsis of the plot is, with innocent victims caught in the crossfire in Los Angeles' intensifying war and crime, both cop John Spartan and violent thug Simon Phoenix are sentenced to a state of frozen incarceration, known as CryoPrison. When Spartan is finally thawed 36 years later, it's 2032, and Los Angeles is now a pacifist utopia called San Angeles. Wait, Angels? San Angels? Wait, am I saying that wrong? I don't know.
I think you got it right.
I think you're right, too.
And Phoenix again is on the loose, and the Spartan must team up with future cop Lenina to apprehend the killer. You see, if I heard the name before I did this, I would have pronounced that right, but that's okay. So before we start, I asked Kylex to let us know why he chose the film or why he loves the film so much. I believe this is his favorite film ever. And he said, I quote Kylex, "I think as an old film, it has stood the test of time, having the perfect amount of seriousness and comedy in it to make it an action film, but not one that takes itself too seriously. Simon Phoenix is easily the best bad guy I have ever seen, and certainly the coolest. The mystery of the three seashells still has me stumped to this day, and I hope I find out before I die what it is." So I thought that the seashell thing was hilarious every time they brought it up, because it's like, they don't have toilet paper, but they don't have bidets, but they have these three seashells, and you only see them like once during the movie in Spartan's apartment. I don't understand how they use those to wipe your ass. And
Yeah.
I know this is a weird place to start in the conversation, but
Very weird.
No, it's the
important.
perfect place to start.
Yeah.
We must know what they're about. Anyone have any theories of
I
how
have
you
some
use
theories.
the shells?
I mean, but I feel like it's some sort of soap, but it has to be used. Would have to be used like with a bidet. So I don't know. I guess.
Do you suds up and wipe your butt with the suds? You
I
use your
guess-
hand? That seems very barbaric for such a classy society.
I agree. Yeah, because I feel like we already have bidets, and like we had bidets back then. I mean, other countries used them obviously a lot more than America does. But it's like I feel like that's where they should have gone, but they didn't. So I don't know if we'll ever have the answer.
They had to put a weird spin on it.
Well, actually, what I'm thinking of what the seashells are, it might seem weird, but it's the only logical thing that came to my head. What I think is that they actually use it to wipe the actual just crust of the seashell. Not sure why,
Oh my
but
God.
it's just the 3 seashells, which is ultimately confusing. But it just seems like this is the only way they can use it.
That'd be kind of painful.
Very
And you only have 3 shots to do it, unless you like wipe them off in between. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you got 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
So you got
Yep.
number 1, number 2, and then you got the cleanup. I
There you go.
It's the only logical thing I could think of. But I
All
don't
right,
know
so-
how the third one works.
Yeah. Maybe all the shells actually have like a crustacean crab in them, and you just get them near your butt. The crab comes out and does all the work.
Oh my God. That,
That would be like the funniest thing ever.
That's like Predator kind of. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
A little alien jaw comes out and just bites the poop away from your butt or something.
Okay, yeah, I prefer toilet paper. I don't need these seashells.
Yeah, I love the part where because every time they swear in this movie, they get like a pink slip almost. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's the one scene where he just does it. He swears a bunch of times in a row and just takes the papers as toilet paper. But the weird thing is he's already come out of the bathroom after that point. So is he walking around with poopy butt syndrome?
He is.
Yeah,
It's totally.
smelly.
That's what they're saying. Is he's just walking around poopy butt because he couldn't
No.
figure out the seashells.
Well, one thinking is that he actually didn't go. Maybe he may check this off first and left.
or
That's a
maybe
good point.
just did number 1 and just left. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the idea of poopy butt syndrome.
I do too.
Did you guys find the sex VR scene kind of scary?
Yes.
Oh yes.
If that ever becomes the future, count me out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be in the mind of somebody else, and then trying to do it. I don't know. That's like a thing. I don't know. That just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, I wasn't understanding what they were trying to insinuate there because obviously the woman who he was seen in his little jump scares, I would call them. I don't know if that was supposed to be Sandra Bullock or if that was another woman because I'd
was
have to
Sandra
go back.
Bullock.
It wasn't because it
I
didn't
saw-
look like her at first glance.
Yeah, there was like one shot where I saw for sure. I'm like, okay, it is Sandra Bullock. I saw her
Mm-hmm.
face pretty clear. But most of it was probably body double, close up of cleavage and whatnot. And Sandra's like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, probably.
Makes no sense though, because like, oh yeah, what? Well, has sex and puts on headset and is like, is this comfortable to you? Seems like I can get a seizure from it because it was so intense.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, literally, it's going in and out and switching, and there was a whole bunch of like colors, and oh man,
Yeah.
it was a little seizures. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seizure-inducing.
Seizures. Yeah,
Mhm.
seizure inducing. And I
Yeah.
feel like from his point of view, if he had been doing it correctly, he would have been getting those flashes. She wasn't getting those because she was doing it correctly, staying in the moment. But he was just like, what is this? This is weird. So he kept coming in and out, and that's where you get the seizures.
Yeah, probably.
Do you guys think that society will ever evolve to a state where, as they say it, the the mixing of fluids is taboo?
No.
Well, actually, since saying not getting political, we're saying what's happening today. Like it's not far off because since everyone's getting kind of personal of what they want to be identified as. Maybe it goes further than that, and they don't want to be like touched by someone that they don't think is right to be touched them, I guess.
So kind of, yeah, I can see VR taking over the world of sexual intercourse, but I don't see it. I mean, obviously, if that does happen, then the world will end as we know it, because all of a sudden there'll just be no more kids.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you might have some people who like, hey, yeah, don't touch me. Let's do this VR stuff. I mean, you kind of have that nowadays. Like, Japan has its whole issue where men just want to watch porn instead of actually be with a woman, and so their women are becoming lesbians. That's a problem in Japan, and I feel like that could happen maybe here, but I don't think it'll be kind of like an offshoot. Like, you'll have people who still be like, no, give me the fluids, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't even kiss in that future. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would ever like not happen, because people they do it openly in public. So how are you gonna stop them?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think little pink slips are gonna stop them.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's just like, oh, I have to pay 1 credit to kiss somebody. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh, but every time you kiss someone, it goes up by 10.
Yeah. Oh, that. I mean, they got to pay for society somehow.
So anyone have any talking points to jump off of?
So my biggest question is, so we get this future, it's the L.A., San Francisco, whatever area, or not San Francisco, but whatever. And, you see this guy like ruling it and, putting all these rules. My question is, what happened to the rest of the world? Are they still part of America? Don't they still have a president? And
well,
yeah, we didn't.
It kind of seems. I'm sorry, Coco. It kind of seems like this is like the last standing utopia of at least the United States. That's what it seems like to me.
Well, didn't she say like some big outbreak happened? So I think they did all come down to like one like area left in the world because of some like big outbreak and some like war. Because I remember Sandra Bullock saying something about that.
I thought she was talking about a big earthquake in 2010, which decimated that area.
Maybe it was both.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. I don't know. It wasn't super clear, or I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Well, it was easy to kind of, during the long sections of them talking between action scenes, it was kind of easy to kind of drift away from the movie because, I mean, even though the lines and dialogue were fine to me, it just, a lot of the time, if it wasn't just references to, like, how fish out of water, Sylvester Stallone is, it was just kind of, like, useless information for some parts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they were trying to do, like, a world-building thing, but some of the stuff they were saying is just, without reference, I don't get what you're saying. Like, yeah, was it an earthquake? Was it some sort of apocalyptic incident that destroyed all the world, or what? They didn't ever... I noticed they had ever explained that.
Yeah.
There were some unanswered questions, Mason. I'm not sure if they were thinking of doing a sequel to that movie of some sort, because, like, one, we never heard about his daughter. We never really knew what was going to happen after that, because they have no reader, and the police system has no protection against violence. It's just a lot of unanswered questions after that film.
There was.
I was almost, at the beginning at least, before all the nasty stuff started happening between John Spartan and Sandra Bullock, I was thinking that Sandra Bullock was going to be his daughter, just because how they were kind of setting it up.
I thought that too.
He couldn't search for her or anything like that, and she kind of was... She was like a gung-ho cop, right? She wanted violence to happen, which is what kind of connected her to the Spartan type of thinking, which I was like, oh, she's got to be the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that too. So
maybe the writers were playing on that, and then they were like, oh, let's put in a sex scene.
How about some VR sex scenes? Huh?
Yeah. Which, another thing, he gets... Sorry, go ahead.
I said that will get their mind off of that.
Yeah. Well, he gets over the death of his wife like really quick. Like, like the next day, he's like, "Oh, my wife's dead. Oh, well, you know what? Sex."
Well, I think the hunt for Phoenix was what kind of centered in on his mind. Like, he was able to push out the death of his wife and not being able to see his daughter and the different norms that society has kind of now been placed. And I think just hunting for Phoenix is like the sole priority in his head for probably like 90% of the movie, really.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, he was probably so like shocked about how the future turned out because he was just like throwing out the police officers guided what do you want to call them, the little guided screens.
Oh yeah.
And he was
Like
just
the
so
PDAs.
like, yeah, he was like, what the hell is going on? And I think he was so like distracted by the future and all the stupid things that happened around him. And like Yemmy said about with Simon, I think that kind of distracted him too. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Going back to what Coco was talking about where things went unanswered, the biggest thing to me is there was a lot of things that were happening in the underground world, and they just didn't really expand on much of that world. Like, all of a sudden, they were in the underground world, and they were making friends with everyone because John Spartan's, just like them. And then all of a sudden, a few scenes later, they're up on top, and they haven't done anything, and they're just like, okay, we're taking over now. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the underground world stuff, seeing as it was a big part of the movie. And was it really explained why the underground leader was targeted so viciously by the high classmen, I'll call them?
A little bit, because before he showed up, apparently they were all just kind of a nuisance, but they weren't a threat. And so once he showed up, they've deemed that, okay, now they actually might spark a revolution and overthrow our utopia.
They were more like plot convenience and actual like characters to that story.
It's true, that too.
I would agree with that. And then also, where did remember Phoenix was like, I need all 8 of these guys to come help me. Where the hell did they go? I know Spartan beat up like 3 or 4 of them with Sandra Bullock, but where'd they go?
Yeah.
They died. Off screen. Sylvester got them, though, don't worry.
Yeah. So another thing that I had written down, and this is one thing that kind of pissed me off during the movie, was people, no matter if it's John Spartan or Phoenix or whoever, they have these clear lined up shots where,
yes.
like I'll give the one with the underground. So Phoenix is up on a catwalk or something like that, aiming directly at John Spartan and Sandra Bullock and the leader of the underground. He has a clear shot. He has time to line that up. And they don't know he's there, and he misses every single shot.
Exactly.
Well, it's a 90s movie. That no one has aim in the 90s.
That's true, but I figured that was going to be like the tone of the movie from the get-go, in the beginning of the movie, where they have the chopper chain hook in the beginning, and like the AA guns and all these guns are just missing the plane, and the plane's like not even 10 feet in the air. I'm like, what are you guys shooting at?
It's like,
and then he's coming down the rope, and like guys on the roof are missing him too. I'm like, oh man.
Just the fact that he's a cop known as Demolition Man. I'm sorry, in the real world, any cop who blows up a building anytime he tries to make an arrest is not going to be a cop for very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sets the tone of the movie right there. You're just like, oh, okay, it's okay.
Well, speaking on that same point of blowing up the building, what do you guys think of I guess it wasn't really a big twist. What do you guys think of the twist in the movie of the people who are already dead before he blew up the building?
I like knew that from the get-go. Like, second he blew up the building, and they're like, oh, there's bodies in there. My first thought, and all the cops are just like, oh, he probably killed them before the building blew up. That makes more sense than...
Yeah, and also, why would they... I told him, he said he didn't care. I was like, why would they believe him?
Exactly.
He's a freaking crook. And then I did a thermal scan. There was only 8 there. I was like, well, wouldn't they pick him up? And even though they're dead, wouldn't they pick them up?
Yeah, I mean, if they were freshly killed, I mean, the body would still have heat. Like, let's say if they burned the bodies, like, because the building exploded, you would think he would burn the bodies. They would still be giving off that heat signature, and it would be a fire in the shape of a human body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless he killed them like the day before or something, and they've lost all their body heat, then yeah, they wouldn't show up then. But
right. And if they shot him, an autopsy would reveal, hey, they were shot before the fire killed them.
yes.
Yeah.
You have to remember, back in the 93, they didn't have those techniques.
Oh.
They couldn't tell if the body was shot.
But they do have frozen chambers for criminals.
Yeah, apparently.
Priorities.
A lot of the movie was, honestly, it was really cheesy. About it. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It was just really cheesy.
Yes, I agree with that. It was fun and entertaining, but very cheesy, and I think they did some of the the acting for the people in the future. Like the over happy, they did a little
Oh, yeah.
overacting there. You're just like, okay,
That was a
tone
little
it down.
off-settling at first for me too. Like I was chopping up to, oh, Sandra Bullock's acting is terrible in this movie for the first scene where she was in the car, and then all of a sudden everyone started talking that way, and I was like, that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Sandra Bullock like messing up like those phrases?
Oh.
What was the one? Let's kiss some ass or something
Yeah,
like
kiss
that.
some ass.
And he was like, kick.
Respect
It's
that
kick.
That was good.
Yeah, it was funny, yeah, but I wonder how they got lost in translation though, because people were probably saying that up until the point where they couldn't anymore, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Like the music station, we're like, oh, look, it's all the oldies. And it's like, how did you lose all the music except for ads?
Yeah. I do like how the one guy's humming the Jolly Green Giant theme song while they're preparing in the underground. I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
One other thing that I wanted to mention, if someone else wants to pick up after this, how much ammo was in that freaking museum? Because they seem to have unlimited bullets when they picked up those museum guns, and the only one that didn't use ammo was the futuristic laser weapon. But all the guns he picked up seemed to just have unlimited supplies of ammunition, and for a museum, I mean, that's pretty dang good.
That's good. Especially since most time when you store guns, you don't store them loaded.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Exactly.
First off, why is there a museum with loaded guns? I was like, I
The
was
society is so perfect, Nick.
Oh yeah.
With one guy guarding him too.
Yeah,
Every security, one guy.
Don't you love how the two security cards come up after that, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir," and he's already blown up like half the displays. He's like, "Excuse me, sir."
Guy
It's-
holds gun, killed one person. Excuse me, sir.
How about when Simon was like, "How much do you weigh?" and then throws him through the glass.
Yeah, he couldn't break the glass by
Yeah.
kicking it, shooting
Or
it, punching it, but throw a body at it. There you go.
Yeah, something tells me that glass would not have broken.
Yeah.
Not at the speed he got that body going.
He could have just used the cannon to do that too.
Right?
Yeah.
He could
I
have.
mean, that was
It was
just out
already
in the
it's
open.
loaded.
It had
Yeah,
gunpowder in it
apparently
too.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ready to go.
For some odd reason, which it could like to some random person's. Oh, what's this do? Blows up the entire freaking room.
Yeah, it's a good thing he had something to light that cannon with too.
And we didn't even see how he light it. He's like, oh yeah, it's automatically firing.
Because like no one smokes or anything in that timeline, so no one had lighters. Where'd he
Yeah.
get the lighter? That's the biggest plot hole of this whole movie, right
Oh,
there.
But Tay, remember he had the lighter at the beginning of the movie, and he put it in his pocket after he had used it.
Oh, you mean
got
his
stripped.
his butt pocket?
Yeah, he shoved it up his ass when he was frozen, and he was like, I remember now.
Okay, plot hole fixed. I feel better.
Yeah, there we go. Anyone else have any talking points they want?
Let's see. Yeah, because I had the museum. Guns in the museum was one of them. The dead wife.
How about was this movie predictable to you guys?
I mean, yes, because you kind of knew that he was gonna get the bad guy in the end. How he was gonna do it, of course, is the fun thing, the lead up to it. But
Yeah.
you kind of could see, Phoenix is trying to resurrect everyone from the CryoPrison, and I kind of saw that it was gonna come all back to the CryoPrison after they had left, because it's like this is a huge set piece, and there's a lot more going on here than what they did before. But it was, I think that it was predictable up to a point, but you can't really predict the crazy actionness that is to the movie.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I also predicted that he was going to have someone else shoot the guy who
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I saw that
hypnotized him or
coming.
whatever. And I don't see how he could have not have seen that coming, because after
Well,
resurrecting eight of his soldiers, and just handing his
Because
gun to someone
Phoenix had
else.
told him that they weren't killers, and he of the
He
future
believed
they believe anything you say.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't blame John Smith. He was like, preposterous. He wouldn't be at the museum because
No,
this
yeah.
computer told me every scenario. It's like, if your computer is that smart but does not get it right, are you sure you're using the right computer system?
Probably has a bug, a virus.
Also, I wanted to talk about something. Is that he gets installed with that knowledge. How come they don't know about it? It's
Yeah,
kind
that's true.
Because they revived him. They brought him out. But they don't know what he's got in.
because the doctor had been doing it secretly, because he
Yeah.
he gave him all that information so he could break free and then solve his problem of the freedom fighter guy.
Yeah, I think
So
he gave
no
him a
one
little
else-
bit too much.
Yeah, he definitely gave him
just
too
a little
much.
bit.
I mean, he already was a crazy guy, and to give him martial arts skills, demolition skills, gun skills, katana skills, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah. It's like
I thought-
really
I
you just
thought
need
it-
to give him the computer skills and like the knowledge of the world, and that'd probably be enough.
Well, yeah, all you need is a good hacker, and you got control of the whole mainframe.
Yeah.
The last thing I had written down was... well, actually, there's two things. So the one thing is really short. We got to see Stallone's ass in this movie. Not too bad.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that it was on Mythbusters, and they proved that if you freeze something, just like in the Batman and Robin movie with Mr. Freeze, and just like with this movie, when you freeze something, it doesn't necessarily mean that item becomes more frail and easier to break. And the end of this movie was just full of, oh, it's frozen. I can just smash this metal arm with my bare fist. I can barge through these iron gates. I can smack this guy's head off with a swing of my foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like the regular movie trope, just like the trope of, oh, I throw a cigarette on the ground and it lights this gasoline on fire. It's kind of in that same realm of, it doesn't work that way, but it's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, back then they didn't have Mythbusters to, set the record straight. So they just kept doing it over and over and over.
You know what I thought was weird is that actually two things that but one's funny is that they have a Lethal Weapon 3 in our office
Oh,
from
yeah.
1992, but they're in 2036. How is that possible? They had that with a future that's set in positivity.
Well, if you remember, if you go underneath a city, the new city was built over Los Angeles or whatever.
Mhm.
So you can literally go into the underground and find like artifacts from the old world. And Sandra Bullock even said multiple times, she's like, I'm a collector of these artifacts. And
Of contraband. She called
Contraband,
it
that's
contraband.
what-
She
yeah,
knew it
yeah.
was evil or was
Yeah.
against the law, but she was a cop, so it didn't matter.
and they let her keep those in her office.
Yeah.
For some odd reason.
Yeah.
Also,
Government-run facility.
Sorry. Also, the funniest part is when reviewing Village of Demolition Man, and that woman and the woman wrote the spoilers like, you blew up 1,000 mall, just saved 25,000 ransom. The woman goes like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That would had me dying.
That was great.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, it makes sense though, because it's like, duh, I saved the child. Like,
Yeah. The companies that built that mall still have enough money to rebuild that mall. I
Yeah.
saved the child. I do also every movie back in the 90s, like to make sure they really got home that they were R-rated, they would just have that random naked chick just show up.
Yes.
And I like that, even though this is technically all illegal, the sex and all that's illegal, it clearly looked like someone was trying to initiate sex.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
But they just did to get the naked lady in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like Airplane, where it's just like all of a sudden you pan over and it's like full frontal nudity, and for like 1 second, then they pan back over to the rest of the airplane. It's like, yep, that's why it's rated, R.
You had to do it. It was a rule in the 90s.
All right, so we're getting close to that time of ending. Let's go over our final thoughts on the movie, and then if you guys want to, you can do a score out of. Do you want to do 5 or out of 10?
No, let's
10.
do- Okay.
I was thinking 10.
10 is fine.
Wait, did the 5s win it? We have 2 5s and a 10.
Oh, we can do 5s.
I mean, it's
You
all
want
up to it's up to
Yeah,
you
5
guys.
is fine. 5 is
5's
fine.
fine.
Five.
Okay, let's do 5 out of 5. So if someone wants to go first, let it rip. That's how it goes.
All right, I'll start. Besides being cheesy and to me a little predictable, I did like the comedy, and I thought it was for what it's worth. It actually is a really good movie. I like the actors in it. I thought overall the story was cool, but I think there's some things that could have been changed. But overall, I'd probably give it, I'll say a 4 out of 5. Next.
Okay. I'll go next. So I definitely felt it was a product of its time. Definitely, you could tell just watching you go, yep, this was from the 90s. And this was right before The Matrix, so they hadn't quite shifted gears. So more of a product from the 80s, I guess. But overall, yeah, same thing. I thought it was a fun action film. It was a little predictable. Comedy was good. Overall, I enjoyed it. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5.
For my rating, yeah, the actors on it were great because, well, during that time, those actors are pretty common in movies like this. But I feel like they did actually a great role for that. Even though the movie was very cheesy, but then again, during that time, a lot of those movies were. So to say it, I really enjoyed the film. Watching it again, I enjoyed it more. So I get the film at 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I like the action in the movie. There were things that annoyed me, like I already talked about, and I think that the comedy really did hit more than it didn't. There was just a few lines that I thought were just they didn't resonate with me personally. The shells thing, hilarious, and her messing up the language was hilarious, and just the little nitpicks I have, like, no one can hit a shot in this movie to save their life unless they're a main character, or just the bizarre nature of the ending of the movie with him smashing through frozen stuff. But like Coco said, it's a product of its time, and seen as things have, of course, gotten better with CGI and stuff like that. I can definitely like the fact that they used a lot of practical effects and a lot of things were done without stuntmen and stuff like that. And I really did enjoy the movie. I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I definitely did enjoy it, and I would probably give it like a 3.5 as well.
Well, that's the
Yeah, that's a wrap. That's a wrap on this one. So at the end of each movie, we're going to have a different member of the podcast go ahead and request that we all watch a movie, and then in 2 weeks we'll come back with another review or conversation, I should say, about the next movie in the list. And seeing as I think this is actually perfect because Kylex suggested Demolition Man, but he couldn't be on the podcast, and I think that was actually perfect for a starting one, so that we all kind of start with something that we don't know really. So we're gonna go through. I'm gonna go first to kind of set the stage here, and we're gonna be watching this next 2 weeks. We'll be watching the movie Fury from 2014. This is one that I've wanted to revisit for a long time because it's in the same vein of like Saving Private Ryan or any of those other World War II movies. And I remember it coming out and being a little bit disappointed with it, so I want to go ahead and watch it again. It is from 2014. It's the director is David Ayer, and it stars Brad Pitt, Logan Lerman, John Berthenol, and for the first time in a while, this was the first movie with Shia LaBeouf coming back after his Transformers fiasco. So the synopsis of it: in 1945, the Allies are making their final push into the European theater. A battle-hardened army sergeant named Don War Daddy Collar is leading a Sherman tank with a 5-man crew to undertake a deadly mission behind lines, hopelessly outnumbered, outgunned, and saddled with an inexperienced soldier in their midst. War Daddy and his men face overwhelming odds as they move to strike into the heart of Nazi Germany. Now, y'all know I love World War II, and this movie was right up my alley. I almost was gonna. Well, actually, I shouldn't say because I might actually request that movie in the future. But I love World War II movies, and this was the one that, like I said, was one of those movies that I was like, I don't know if I like this one, but I never went back and watched it again. I bought it on Blu-ray, but I never went back and watched it. So I thought, good idea, Yemmy, to suggest it here.
This is the whole reason for the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Has anyone else seen Fury?
I have not.
I have.
The funny thing is, my dad really just bought that movie.
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
So you guys can actually get it on. Of course, you can buy it on DVD and Blu-ray, or there's Amazon Prime, Vudu. You can actually rent it from YouTube, Google Plays, and iTunes. Those are the different places you can find it. And like I said, in 2 weeks we'll come back and we shall talk about Fury.
All right, sounds good to me. Excited. World War II movie.
Yes. Y'all were probably expecting Saving Private Ryan, but I've seen that movie enough, and
I
it
was
is one of my
expecting
favorites.
Shrek.
well,
Yeah,
it's
I was
on.
expecting Shrek too.
There's going to be a Shrek movie in the future. We'll all decide if we want to keep doing the 2-week thing. I know it can be a little taxing to work in time for an hour or 2 hour movie. So that's why we're going to do every other week for right now. And if things pick up and if we can, we might do it weekly. But for right now, it's just going to be every other week. So I believe I'm going to be releasing these episodes on Fridays. So every other Friday, you'll get a new episode of Film Freakz with me, YemmytheFerret.
With me, GreedyWaffle.
With me, Tay.
And yeet, me, Coco.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. And thanks to Kylex Plays for suggesting the movie. And we hope to see you in the next episode. Adios.
See you.
Adios.
Bye.